Good morning everyone, welcome to Whiteboard English, and today I'll be explaining future perfect continuous tense. So future perfect continuous tense is a verb tense that is used to describe an action or a situation that has started in the future and is going to end in the future. But with this tense, it is that it's also used to talk about an action that when this happens, another action will have happened for a certain amount of time. So let's take a look at an example for us to understand this better. But first, let's look at the format, of course. For making positive sentences, the format is subject plus will plus have plus been plus verb in the first form plus ing plus object. And of course, because it is a continuous tense, it is a verb in the first form plus ing, and ing because it is continuous tense, and also verb in the first form because for us to add ing, the verb has to be in the first form. And also it is will have been because it is a future perfect continuous tense. Now let's look at some examples that are created using this format. By 10 o'clock tonight, I will have been studying for 5 hours. It is saying that by 10 o'clock tonight, by 10 o'clock tonight, I will have been studying for 5 hours. So this action studying by 10 o'clock tonight, since this action is continuing, by the time it's 10 o'clock, that action will have gone on for 5 hours. Now let's take a look at another one. By next month, she will have been working for a year. Now, she has been working, and by next month, she will have been working for a year. So it's saying that by a certain time, as this action that has been going on will have gone on for a certain point in time. So it's saying, it is also saying that both of these actions, by the time it's 10 o'clock and by next month, this action, studying and working, will have ended, and it would have gone on for, studying would have gone on for 5 hours, working would have gone on for a year. Now, another example we can see here is by the end of the week, they will have been renovating the house for 2 months. Now, we can also see here, there is an action here and an action here, or a point, 2 points. So you can see by the end of the week, there is a time there. By end of the week, they will have been renovating the house for 2 months. Now, the house is being renovated, and by the end of the week, that renovation will have ended, and the time period from the renovation to the end of the week would have been 2 months. That's what the example is saying. Now, another example is, by the time we arrive, they will have been waiting for us for 3 hours. Now, let's say we're going to someone's house, and by the time we arrive at that house, the people at that house would have been waiting for us for 3 hours. Now, it's saying that this action of us going to their house, it's happening, and by the time that we arrive there, the people at that house would have been waiting for us for 3 hours. Okay, so let's take a look at the last example. By this time next year, we will have been living in our new house for 6 months. Now you can see here, by this time next year, that is a time period that we are setting. By this time next year, that is a time period we're setting, and living in our new house, that's an action, and by this time next year, living in our new house, that action would have gone on for 6 months. Now we can see here, all of these actions are talking about by this time this happens, this action will have gone on for this amount of time. So it's saying by this time, this is in the future. In the future, by this time, this action that is going on currently will have ended in the future by this certain amount of time. And when that ends, the action that had been going on and the end that we're supposedly setting here, that time that has taken is what's given over here. 5 hours a year, 2 months, 3 hours, 6 months. That is what's saying. So future perfect continuous tense is saying an action is going on, an action we're saying In the future, it will end at a certain time, and that time is specified. We're talking about that time. So this action that has started from here and ends in the future, the time in the middle from the start to finish, that is future perfect continuous tense. Because we're talking about, even though we're setting a time in the future where it is going to end, we're also talking about the time that is taking from the start to the finish. So in the middle as well, the continuation time is also being talked about. So that is why it is future perfect continuous tense. So that is how you make a positive sentences with this format for future perfect continuous tense. Now let's take a look at negative sentences in future perfect continuous tense. So next up we have a negative. For negative, the format is subject plus will plus not plus have plus been plus verb in the first form plus ing plus object. Now this sounds like really long, but it's not. Let's see over here, will have been. It is will have been, but will not have been. So just keep that in mind. It's not will plus have plus not been. It's will plus not plus have been. Will not have been. Will not have been. Easy like that. Now, verb in the first form plus ing, of course, so that is the same. Now, if we look at the examples that are written below, they have been changed to fit the format, so let's look at that. By 10 o'clock tonight, I will not have been studying for 5 hours. Now it's saying by 10 o'clock tonight, even though I have been studying, it would not have been 5 hours since I've started studying. It might have been 4 hours, 3 hours, but it will not have been 5 hours. So next up, by next month, she will not have been working here for a year. So by next month, she will not have been working here for a year. She might have been working here for less or more. Who knows? By the end of the week, they will not have been renovating their house for 2 months. So by the end of the week, the renovation on the house will not have been for 2 weeks. It might have been for less. By the time we arrive, they will not have been waiting for us for 3 hours. They might have not even been knowing we're going to arrive at the house. By this time next year, we will not have been living in our new house for 6 months. Who knows what happened for that not to happen, but it will not happen. That is what all of these sentences are saying. It is not going to happen because we changed the positive sentence into negative sentence. Now let's take a look at interrogative sentences and see how we can turn these into questions. So next up, now you can see the format for interrogative sentences is will plus subject plus have plus been plus verb in the first form plus ing plus object plus question mark, which is very important for it to become a question. And also you can see here, just like all the other tenses, the subject has been moved to the second place and the will has been moved to the front. And now you can see here the will have been is the same, and also verb in the first form plus ing and object. Something new here is the question mark, and that is very simple to remember, nothing hard. So you can see the examples here have now been turned into questions. Let's see, by 10 o'clock tonight, will I have been studying for 5 hours? Now it is asking, probably asking someone else, by 10 o'clock tonight, will I have been studying for 5 hours? It's asking, so tonight by 10 o'clock, my studying that is happening right now, will it have been going on for 5 hours? By next month, will you have been working here for a year? So let's say an employee is asking another employee, by next month, will you have been working here for a year? I know you're working here with us. By next month, will you have been working here for a year, for less than a year, for more than a year? How long would it have been? So next up, by the end of the week, will they have been renovating their house for 2 months? So someone's asking how long would their house have been renovating for by the end of the week? So they're asking, will they have been renovating their house for 2 months by the end of the week? That's how it has changed into a question. By the time we arrive, will they have been waiting for us for 3 hours? So let's say you're asking a neighbor of the house you're trying to go to, and you're at, you know they're waiting for you because you're the guest, and you're asking them, so by the time we arrive, will they have been waiting for us for 3 hours? By this time next year, will we have been living in our new house for 6 months? Let's say the kids are asking the parents, we're living in our new house now, so by this time next year, will it have been 6 months that we've been living in this house for? So you can see all these questions are saying, so in this point of time in the future, this action or event or situation or anything that is going on, by that point of time in the future, will it have been for this certain amount of time? Such as given here, 5 hours, a year, 2 months, 3 hours, 6 months. It is very easy if you just think about it like that. You don't need to worry about these because honestly, it might seem like a very long format, but honestly, just think about it like this. Will have been, and will not have been. Will, the subject, was have been. All there is that to it. Now, it is very easy to study if you practice a lot, so that is all you have to keep in mind. So next up, let's see another form of interrogative sentences and see how we can specify the question a little bit more. So next up, we can see another form of interrogative sentences, and that is the same interrogative format but with the WH questions, such as what, when, why, where, but also how. And you can see here with the sentences how we have changed it to fit certain sentences and for it to make sense. You can see here, by 10 o'clock tonight, what will I have been studying for 5 hours? Instead of by 10 o'clock tonight, will I have been studying for 5 hours? It's asking, yes, by 10 o'clock tonight, I will have been studying for 5 hours, but what will I have been studying for 5 hours? It's asking a more specific question. What will I have been studying for 5 hours? By next month, how will she have been working here for a year? By next month, how will she have been working here for a year? You can already see how that question is being asked. By the end of the week, where will they have been renovating their house for 2 months? By the end of the week, where will they have been renovating their house for 2 months? Now that question doesn't seem like that makes a lot of sense. It seems grammatically correct though, so yeah. And also it's whether or not you're learning this for school or you're learning this for personal purposes. You can choose to study the WH questions or not. If you are being taught this in school, then go ahead and study. But if you are not being taught this in school, maybe just keep that in mind, but don't use it for exams, because if you're not being taught that, it is probably not a good idea to use it in exams, because you're only supposed to use what you are being taught at school. And also, but it is useful if you are trying to expand your English a little bit more and you're trying to ask more specific questions and you're trying to be more specific with what you are saying. So just keep that in mind the next time you use WH questions and how. So next one, you can see, by the time we arrive, where will they have been waiting for us for 3 hours? So by the time we arrive, where will they have been waiting for us? So now next one, you can see, by this time next year, how will we have been living in our new house for 6 months? Now by this time next year, for when it reaches 6 months, how will we have been living in our new house? Will it have been comfortable, uncomfortable, stuff like that? It's more specified in how it's asking the question, as you can see here with all 5 of these. And that is all. Also, the format is the exact same, just the WH added. And also, of course, we cannot forget the question mark is still there. So that is all for interrogative and the special interrogative, another form of it. And that is all for future perfect continuous tense. There is no need to be stressed about it or anything, because when you look at it like this, it is very much easy. And try and practice this more and it will be just fine. Hope you like this explanation. If there's anything you would like me to change or slow down on my explanation, please do comment below and stick around for more videos. That's all for today. Bye!